History books are obsessed with geniuses, but let's be honest, the idiots have shaped our world just as much. One wrong turn triggered World War I. One captain's inability to flush a toilet sank a state-of-the-art submarine. One man's two inventions literally poisoned the entire planet's atmosphere. These aren't just random nobodies. We're talking about generals, presidents, and scientists who had every resource at their fingertips and still made the worst possible call. Today, we're counting down 10 spectacular failures that range from the hilarious to the deadly. Forget the great men theory of history. Sometimes the world just turns on a spectacular lack of common sense. Number 1. The U-boat toilet disaster, U-1206. In 1945, German U-boat technology was the pinnacle of marine engineering. It was cutting-edge, deadly, and apparently equipped with a toilet so complex it required an engineering degree just to flush. Captain Karl Adolf Schlitt commanded the U-1206, which featured a new high-pressure toilet system designed to work at crushing depths. The catch? You had to turn a series of valves in a precise order. Schlitt decided to use the facilities without reading the manual. He turned the wrong valve, and instead of flushing, a torrent of seawater flooded the sub. This water hit the massive batteries located directly below the toilet, creating a chemical reaction that filled the sealed metal tube with lethal chlorine gas. Schlitt was forced to surface immediately, right in front of British aircraft. The crew had to scuttle the sub to avoid capture, leading to the loss of one of Germany's most advanced vessels. Germany literally lost a submarine to a bad bowel movement. Number 2. The lawyer who body-checked fate, Gary Hoy. Gary Hoy was a successful Toronto lawyer with a very specific, very dangerous party trick. He loved proving to visitors that the windows of his 24th floor office were unbreakable. His method was simple. He would run at full speed and body-check the glass like a hockey player. He had done this dozens of times, and the glass held every single time, because it was indeed incredibly strong. In 1993, during a demonstration for a group of law students, Hoy charged the window one last time. He was technically right. The glass didn't shatter. However, the force of his impact caused the entire window pane to pop out of its frame. Hoy took a 24-story journey to the courtyard below, still clutching the unbroken glass. He won the argument, but he lost everything else. The engineers later confirmed the glass was fine. The frame just wasn't designed for repeated horizontal trauma from a grown man. Number 3. Australia's fluffy apocalypse, Thomas Austin. In 1859, Thomas Austin arrived in Australia and decided the continent was missing one thing: rabbits for hunting. He released 24 wild rabbits onto his estate, figuring a few fluffy creatures wouldn't hurt anyone. But as they say, they bred like rabbits. Within a decade, those 24 pets had multiplied into the millions. By the 20th century, billions of rabbits were devouring crops, destroying native plants, and causing massive soil erosion across the entire continent. The government spent millions on fences thousands of miles long, poison, and even biological warfare, but nothing could stop the tide. To this day, rabbits remain one of Australia's greatest ecological disasters, costing the economy hundreds of millions annually. Austin wanted a fun Sunday afternoon hobby. Instead, he triggered a 160-year environmental nightmare. Number 4. The Battle of Karen Sabis, the army that fought itself. In 1788, the Austrian army achieved the most embarrassing military defeat in history, and the enemy wasn't even there. 100,000 Austrian soldiers were marching to fight the Ottoman Turks. One night, a group of hussars found some locals selling schnapps and got spectacularly drunk. When infantrymen arrived and demanded a share, a brawl broke out and a shot was fired. In the dark, soldiers who spoke different languages couldn't understand each other. Someone shouted "Turks" as a joke, and panic exploded. Cavalry charged their own infantry, and artillery began firing into their own ranks. By morning, the Austrians had killed or wounded up to 10,000 of their own men. When the actual Ottoman army arrived 2 days later, they found a field of corpses and an empty camp. They took the city without firing a single shot. Number 5. The Invisible Bank Robber, MacArthur Wheeler. In 1995, MacArthur Wheeler robbed 2 Pittsburgh banks in broad daylight with zero disguise. He wasn't brave, he just thought he was invisible. Wheeler had learned that lemon juice could be used as invisible ink, so he concluded that smearing lemon juice on his face would make him invisible to security cameras. He even tested this by taking a blurry Polaroid selfie and convinced himself it worked. Naturally, the bank cameras captured his face in high definition. When the police arrested him that night and showed him the footage, he was genuinely shocked, muttering, "But I wore the juice." This level of peak stupidity inspired psychologists to study the Dunning-Kruger effect, where people are too incompetent to realize they are incompetent. Wheeler became the scientific poster child for being confidently wrong.
Number 6. Operation Acoustic Kitty, the $20 million taxi ride. During the Cold War, the CIA spent $20 million on a plan so absurd it sounds like a cartoon. They wanted to turn a house cat into a living surveillance device. Surgeons spent years implanting a microphone in its ear, a transmitter at the base of its skull, and an antenna in its tail. The idea was to let the cat wander near Soviet officials and eavesdrop on their secrets. After 5 years of development, the big day arrived. They released the Acoustic Kitty near a Soviet compound in Washington, D.C. The cat took 2 steps into the street and was immediately flattened by a yellow taxi. $20 million and years of cutting-edge surgical research were destroyed in seconds by a standard cab. The project was quietly canceled, and the CIA went back to the drawing board. Number 7. Thomas Midgley Jr., the man who broke the sky. Thomas Midgley Jr. might be the most environmentally destructive individual to ever live. In the 1920s, he solved engine knocking by adding lead to gasoline. Leaded gas proceeded to poison the atmosphere for decades, causing widespread brain damage and health issues. But he wasn't done. He then invented CFCs for refrigeration, which promptly tore a massive hole in the Earth's ozone layer. Midgley had more negative impact on the planet's atmosphere than any other single organism in history. The irony reached its peak at the end of his life. After contracting polio, he designed an elaborate system of pulleys to help him get out of bed. In 1944, he became entangled in his own invention and accidentally strangled himself. He was literally killed by his own innovation. Number 8. The $125 million math error, Mars Climate Orbiter. In 1999, NASA lost the Mars Climate Orbiter because of a mistake you'd fail a middle school physics test for. The spacecraft reached Mars after a 9-month journey, fired its engines to enter orbit, and was never heard from again. The investigation found that one engineering team, Lockheed Martin, used imperial units, pounds, while the NASA navigation team used metric units, newtons. Because nobody bothered to convert the data, the orbiter approached Mars at the wrong altitude and either burned up in the atmosphere or spun off into deep space. A $125 million mission was trashed because 2 groups of the world's smartest people couldn't agree on whether to use centimeters or inches. It remains the most expensive conversion error in human history. Number 9. The 18,000-mile fail, the Baltic Fleet. In 1904, Russia sent its Baltic Fleet on an 18,000-mile journey to fight Japan, resulting in the most incompetent naval mission ever recorded. Before they even left European waters, they panicked and opened fire on British fishing boats, thinking they were Japanese torpedo boats, in the North Sea. They nearly started a war with Britain and even managed to shoot their own ships in the confusion. During stops in Africa, officers bought exotic pets like crocodiles and baboons that ran wild on the ships. When they finally reached Japan after 7 months of chaos, the Japanese Navy, which was actually prepared, annihilated them in just 45 minutes. The Russians spent 7 months traveling halfway around the world just to be embarrassed in under an hour. Number 10. The wrong turn that killed 20 million. Archduke Franz Ferdinand. World War I didn't start because of a grand master plan. It started because a driver got lost. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand survived an initial bomb attempt on his life. Later that day, his driver took a wrong turn and stopped the car to reverse. The engine stalled right in front of a deli where one of the assassins, Gabrielo Principe, was coincidentally eating a sandwich. Principe looked up, saw the Archduke sitting 5 feet away in a stalled car, and fired. This single coincidence triggered a global alliance chain that led to World War I, the deaths of 20 million people, and the reshaping of the entire 20th century. All because a driver didn't know the way to the hospital and an assassin got hungry at the exact right moment. So, the next time you feel bad about a small mistake at work, just remember, you probably haven't strangled yourself with your own bed pulley or started a world war with a bad U-turn. History isn't just a series of brilliant moves, it's a long, messy chain of people winging it and failing spectacularly. Which of these blunders do you think was the most avoidable? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of historical chaos. Stay smart out there, or at least read the manual before you flush the toilet.